Hello, this is R Rats with Team 4545 League, analyzing the game between Egyptian Tiger and Michael Q2 D5. This was played in Team Event 53 in the under 2200 section in round 3, and White's team leads 2-1. There's a pending forfeit that hasn't been posted yet, so let's have a look. Okay. And the Queen's Gambit accepted, something Michael did in an earlier round, as I recall. And now we go into offbeat line. I don't know the line well. Not how many of these lines do I really know well? Not very many. Okay, I guess the idea here is to play b5, and that's what he does, trying to hold on to the pawn. And theory says that White should just start chasing those pawns with moves like a4. He doesn't do it yet. There it is. And Black can't really hold on to that forever. If c6, a takes b5, c takes b5, and knight takes b5, because there's some pins here. But it's interesting while it lasts. I've seen some lines in similar positions. Black will play b4 here. Not a bad move. I don't know about this position. I've seen it in similar positions out of a Chigorin defense. But e6, I guess that's fine. And now Black gets his pieces out with some threats. And then this move is designed to hold on to the pawn on c4 and keep the white bishop, his range, limited. And a few wholesale exchanges reinforcing c4. So the game looks basically about even. White's got some board room to operate on the king side to compensate for everything of Black's that's sitting over here on the queen side. So what's Black's strategy here? Logically, you say you're going to castle, but you might be castling right into an attack. What are the alternatives? Bring the king over to c8. The idea behind that is that, or even b7, the rook can get into play a different way. And White's not really poised to attack on the queen side, so I don't see right off the top of my head what's wrong with a strategy like that. Okay, first thing in order, Black's got to develop a couple guys here before we even think about that. But what's wrong with that idea? We'll talk about it here in a moment. Okay, so maybe this is the moment to talk about it. It looks like, let's see, what is White threatening here? Anything Black should worry about? Not really. The only thing that White can do out of this is try to attack on the king side once Black makes himself a target over there. So let's just suppose that Black picks the move Queen e7. And the reason I'm choosing Queen e7 is it just seems to have a little more scope there, although Queen d2 is okay, or d7 is okay too. Keep some pressure on d4. And now let's just suppose White castles. Okay, now just snuggle the king over. What's White do? He has a check on g5 that just drives the king where he wants to go. Okay, so let's see. What else can White do? Well, take this open file. Okay, now let's just back the bishop up. And now the bishop has ideas of operating on that long diagonal at some point. I don't know how this game is evaluated. It just, like I say, it just seems to me to be a logical plan, because all of Black's army was over on the queen side, and he was controlling and holding on to c4. It just seems like trying to castle kingside is just asking for it. So, game looks even to me. Anything can happen. We can't assess this out because there's an infinite number of possibilities. But anyway, knight e7. So, no need really to maneuver that knight any yet. And there probably was no need for that, but it's okay that he did it. I guess he's eyeballing and occupying d5 and keeping a knight on that square. Okay, but instead he went to f5. And So here, like I say, castling kingside. It was the last chance to try my idea here. My idea would be here queen d7, and well, you could even play queen d5 here. What's wrong with queen d5? It's a nice nice square for the queen. It really holds on to c4. White's not going anywhere to get rid of that. And the plan now is just to play king d7 and king c8 and king b7 if need be, and then the rook will figure out where it wants to go. May want to go to a8 eventually. I don't know, but this seems fine for black. But what he does, it just walks into trouble. Okay, because now white has this fine move, and a lot of times a theme that black will do in similar positions is want to play knight h4 here. And so I was asking myself, why didn't he do it? And you know, the first thing you look at is, well, bishop g5 forks it, but that doesn't work. Black has a check. So I don't know what's wrong with knight g5. It's black's only piece developed on the king side, and maybe you don't want to trade it off, but you've spent all this time maneuvering it. It went from c6 to e7 to f5 and now h4. Just to trade it off almost seems a waste, but maybe black needs that. Get rid of some pieces over there so that the king becomes safe, because his king is going to get attacked. So what does white do here? Knight takes and queen takes. Now you could play g5 just to restrict the queen's position a little bit, but I don't know. Black has some of his own potential here that white has to watch out for. Bishop b7, and that's, like I always say, one of the flaws with g4. So I could be missing something. The players can point it out to me. I'm just doing a quick run through, but these plans like this just seem to make sense if you're playing black, and because just the way he got attacked out of this, it was just a shame how all the possibilities he had just disappeared. So he's brought the knight up to f5, and now it's gone back, and white's gained some space. He's gained a couple tempos that black spent moving the knight to f5 and now back, and he hasn't really improved his position any, and his king is going to get in trouble here real quick. Okay, so there we start. Now there's the threat of mate that black has to deal with. Okay, now the knight moves yet again. Wow, why not just, it's true you're going to get attacked, but you've committed to these things, g6, and stop these shenanigans, because on g6 it's just going to get attacked again. And there it goes. White offers a pawn and says take the pawn, and obviously black can't take the pawn. So white's just gaining all kinds of an initiative here on the king side because black's just simply misplaying this. And now he pretty much has to take. Can't move the knight. He gets mated, and now white's just ruined the black king side pawn structure. And black did this to himself. It's nothing special white did. White just took advantage of a bunch of bad moves by black. And f5, trying for some kind of a relief here. Wow. White handles this fine. He just takes it. And now look at that. Protected pass pawn on e5. And two very weak pawns that are on g5 and f5. Those things are at risk of falling. And if they both fall, white's crushing. Not to mention, if white can figure out how to get his queen to h7, it's not that easy right now, but it could be. Okay, and meanwhile, here's these black pieces. They did develop, but and they're over there doing their job. They're holding down the queen side, and that's where the black king belonged. If his king was over there, black could be attacking on the king side. Maybe. Okay, so goes on. Now I guess black felt obligated to just give up the exchange here. He didn't even try to hold on to it. I'm not going to analyze it out and see why he had to give it up. But he elected to give it up. Now he's finally getting on a diagonal that he should have been trying to get onto moves ago. And white just picks up some material. And now he just starts, he covers his that long diagonal. Now the bishop may be coming back to d1 and the queen sliding over to h2. All kinds of wonderful chances White has now. Okay, so why put the bishop on d5? Why not get the knight there so it can come into play? Knight to, well, I guess you have to give up the c4 pawn. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Anyway, White's basically just dead one here. He's just got to find the ways to maneuver. And here's White's doing what I suggested, going to threaten mate. And now entering into the black position, and now that bishop is all tied up, it's pinned, and White just threatens a pawn, and really black can't do anything. His hands are tied. Now the rook comes into play, and White's just crushing, and White just starts finding good moves. Ouch. Black has a tough problem here. He's give up a piece or get attacked. He took the piece, and White just started the attack. And it wouldn't surprise me if there was a checkmate in here. Almost looks close. Black has to give the piece back. Ouch. You can take with the... Well, you don't want to take yet. You want to do some checking first. Okay. Gosh, it's so close to a checkmate. But really, White probably has 5 or 6 different wins here. This just seems to win the queen. What can Black do? Nothing. Yeah. Now there's another fork. Ouch. So it's a wonderful game by White. He was handed an excellent position, and after a tough opening, and just made the most of it. And I've really not seen a line like this before. It looked like Black's strategy was okay. Hold on to c4 and crimp the White bishop from getting out to its normal square and other normal diagonals. It could never get to d3, could never get to c4, so it couldn't be on either the a2 g8 diagonal or the b1 h7 diagonal until much later in the game did it only finally get into play and exert its influence. But my idea was Black should just castle by hand on the queen side, because that's where his men were, and his king would have been quite safe. How's White going to attack that? It would have been an even game and a very interesting game. But sometimes, you know, we don't think of these things. We just say to ourselves, well, if you have castling available, you castle. And since my other rook's taken away, I only have one rook to castle with. Well, I'm going to castle there. Well, Black was castling into a naked position. He had nothing over there helping his king, and he sent a knight over there to help out, and all the knight did was start losing time and getting attacked, and every time it moved, White gained a little space, and eventually White just had a totally crushing position. So, wonderful game by White. He took his time here. He found a lot of good moves, and even if he missed some good moves, it doesn't matter. He found enough great ones to just punish Black here. So there's a lot to learn from this game. The opening certainly seems worth it if Black can take these strategies next game and do some of the ideas I suggested. He could be winning games with this position. It certainly looks like a great opening. It takes White out of all of his main lines that he will play in a Queen's Gambit accepted. So White's swimming and figuring it out on his own right at the start, instead of relying on 15-20 moves of book and endless examples of how to play from here. Leads to some creative chess when you have to stop and think yourself. So the opening itself wasn't the reason Black lost. The reason Black lost was because of his middle game play. But anyway, that's what we're here for, to examine chess, to find new ideas and make suggestions, and keep analyzing and trying to find more and more out of these things. And those of you that are watching all these videos, you're certainly getting exposed to just about every opening there is. Not everyone yet, maybe eventually. And learning a lot of plans and ideas and simple things and how people think and how people handle the clock. There's a wealth of benefit here for those that are watching. And those of you that are, I thank you so much for your time. And once again, I look forward to seeing you when I make my next video. Take care.